Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right, next question from the YouTube section here. This is from YouTube subscriber South 97 North. South asks, I'm 260 pounds at 24% body fat and can only train 2 to 3 days per week while in nursing school. What should my calories be to cut before graduation? I can't tell you what your calories are going to be, man. It really just depends on your metabolism. And I've seen great variance between metabolism. What I can tell you, there are certain macros I usually start guys off with when I'm working with somebody. I would say this: the protein is going to be the base of all your nutrition. I start off with 1 gram to 1.25 grams per pound of body weight with protein. That's a non-negotiable. Start there. Leave protein static as is. I would probably run some sort of caloric cycling. I would take 1 to 2 days a week and probably go zero carbs. Use those days as fat loss days. Fats, you're going to need a certain amount of fats in your diet. I would keep your protein sources as lean as you possibly can keep them. Keep the saturated fats out of your diet as much as you possibly can. You're going to want to supplement in some essential fatty acids, omega-3s and omega-6s. Something like 30 to 40 grams per day is plenty. And on your, with your carbohydrates are really the major wild card here. What I have found with carbohydrates, and this is my general experience, I like to keep them stacked around the workout window. But the minimum amount of carbohydrates before you go to zero, it's kind of like 150-ish. I found once you get below 150, you might as well just go to zero because you're kind of in this nether region where you're not in ketosis, but you don't have enough glucose intake to, make you not feel like a fucking zombie. So you're better off just going to zero carbohydrates if you dip below 150. But what I like to do is cycle the carbohydrates. So the days that are zero carbohydrates, I would have those on my non-workout days, just, non-lifting days. I would do some cardio, light cardio, some less cardio. On my lifting days, I would never take carbohydrates out from around my workout window. So say if you were going to eat that 150 grams of carbs on your workout days, I would place it something like 75 grams of carbs pre and post workout. Maybe you can start off a little bit higher with the carbohydrates if you want it. Maybe you could start off with 100 and 100. See how your body responds to that. That's probably where I would start. And then really it's just a game of net negative energy expenditure. If you want to drop 1 pound a week, you're going to be in a net negative energy balance of 500 calories per day. If you want to drop 2 pounds of fat per week, you're going to be in a net negative energy balance of 1,000 calories per day. And that deficit is created through either eating less food or doing more exercise. That's really your two choices. And I don't think 3 days a week are going to be effective enough. I know you are in nursing school. You don't think you have more time, but you can make more time, man. I promise you that. You can get in the gym more than 3 days per week. We're talking an hour a day. There are 24 hours in a day. Just sleep an hour less. or take away Netflix times or whatever. I'm sure you have an hour in a day that you're fucking off doing something else that you can make up for it. Scroll social media a little less. There are ways to make up for that extra time. I would say you probably want to be in the gym 4 or 5 days a week minimum if you want to effectively lose that fat and get that fat off. That would be and that's going to be the easiest way to do it. It's only so low you can take the calories. If you're in school and you're trying to be functional in studying, you're probably going to need some carbohydrates in for cognitive performance. My brain is fucking mashed potatoes when I don't eat carbohydrates. I know some people say they feel great on when in ketosis. I am not one of those people, and I find that most people aren't. In fact, there was a study done recently. I don't recall the exact numbers on it, but it was something like 1 in 5 people say they feel better on ketosis. So it's the minority that does. And I know some people say they feel great. I'm not one of those. You can experiment. If you wanted to try a keto diet, you certainly could do that. That is an option. But at the end of the day, it's a net energy balance game. You have to be in a caloric deficit, and you can create that deficit through either more exercise or less food. There are drugs you can use at this point. We have GLP-1s, we have fat burning aids, but they really are not going to make as big of a difference as the energy expenditure game that you're playing with food and with exercise.